Our story begins in a small, quiet town. It sits right where two rivers meet in West Virginia. This town is called Point Pleasant. For most of its history, life there was predictable and calm. But that all changed in the mid-1960s. Something strange started happening. People began to see a creature they couldn't explain. It was something that seemed to come straight out of a nightmare. This creature would soon have a name that would echo through the world of paranormal investigation for decades to come. They called it the Mothman. It appeared in the dark, a silent figure against the night sky, and left a trail of fear and questions in its wake. So, what exactly did people see? According to the witnesses, this was no ordinary bird. The creature was described as being large, maybe 6 or 7 feet tall. It had a massive wingspan stretching over 10 feet wide. Its body was dark, either gray or black, and covered in what looked like feathers or fur. But the most terrifying feature, the one that everyone remembered, was its eyes. They were huge, red, and glowed with an intense, hypnotic light. Witnesses said that when those eyes locked onto you, you were paralyzed with fear. This wasn't just a fleeting shadow, it was a solid, living thing that defied all logical explanation. The first major sighting to make headlines happened on a chilly November night in 1966. Two young couples were driving near an abandoned World War II munitions plant, an area locals called the TNT area. Suddenly, their headlights caught something unbelievable. Standing by the side of the road was the winged figure, with those unmistakable glowing red eyes. As they sped away in terror, the creature took to the air. It flew after their car, easily keeping pace even as they pushed the speedometer past 100 miles per hour. It didn't flap its wings like a bird. It just soared effortlessly behind them, a silent, menacing pursuer. This single terrifying encounter was just the beginning. It was like a dam had broken. Soon, reports of the Mothman started flooding in from all over Point Pleasant and the surrounding areas. Firefighters, pilots, and ordinary citizens all claimed to have seen the creature. Sometimes it was spotted flying high above the town. Other times it was seen standing on rooftops or bridges. The sightings were so numerous and consistent that they couldn't be easily dismissed. The town was gripped by a mixture of fear and fascination. The local newspaper was filled with stories, and investigators from all over the country started to arrive, eager to solve the mystery of the winged man. The year following that first sighting was filled with an escalating sense of dread. The Mothman wasn't just a one-time wonder, it became a recurring character in the town's collective nightmare. Sightings continued almost daily for 13 months. The creature's behavior was just as bizarre as its appearance. It was often seen near the TNT area, a sprawling, eerie landscape of concrete domes and overgrown woods. This location seemed to be its home base, and many brave or perhaps foolish souls ventured there at night, hoping to catch a glimpse of the cryptid. They often returned with stories of feeling watched and hearing strange, high-pitched shrieks. The wave of sightings brought more than just fear. It brought a circus of paranormal activity. Alongside the Mothman reports, people started experiencing other strange phenomena. There were claims of UFO sightings, with strange lights dancing in the sky. People reported their televisions and radios acting up, filled with static or strange electronic noises whenever the creature was supposedly near. There were also stories of unsettling phone calls with bizarre metallic voices on the other end. Perhaps the most sinister development was the appearance of the men in black, mysterious figures who allegedly visited witnesses and warned them to stop talking about what they saw. This period of intense activity reached a tragic and sudden climax on December 15, 1967. During the evening rush hour, the Silver Bridge, a major artery connecting Point Pleasant, West Virginia to Gallipolis, Ohio, collapsed into the freezing waters of the Ohio River. The disaster was catastrophic. Dozens of cars plunged into the river and 46 people lost their lives. The entire community was devastated by the loss. As the town reeled from the tragedy, a chilling connection began to form in the minds of the locals. They remembered that the Mothman had often been seen perched on or flying near the Silver Bridge in the weeks leading up to its collapse. After the bridge fell, the Mothman sightings abruptly stopped. The creature that had haunted the town for over a year simply vanished. This sudden disappearance led many to believe that the Mothman was not a monster, but a harbinger of doom. They theorized that it wasn't there to cause harm itself, but to warn them of the impending disaster. Was it trying to signal the danger, its silent presence a desperate, unheeded alarm, or was its energy somehow connected to the structural failure of the bridge? Whatever the case, the link between the Mothman and the Silver Bridge disaster was forever sealed in the lore of West Virginia. The collapse of the Silver Bridge marked a turning point in the Mothman story. Federal investigators later determined the cause was a structural failure. A tiny crack in a single eye-bar, a critical piece of the bridge's suspension chain, had grown over time, and finally snapped under the weight of holiday traffic. It was a failure of engineering, a tragedy born from metal fatigue. But for the people of Point Pleasant, this scientific explanation wasn't enough. It didn't explain the year of terror they had just endured. It didn't explain the glowing red eyes or the impossible creature that had stalked their nights for 13 months straight. This is where the theories really start to fly. The first, and most straightforward, is that Mothman was simply a case of mistaken identity. Skeptics propose that what people saw was a large bird, perhaps one not native to the area. The most common candidate is the sandhill crane, a massive bird with a wingspan that can reach over 7 feet and distinctive red markings around its eyes. It's plausible that in the darkness, under the stress of a sudden encounter, people could have mistaken a large, unfamiliar bird for something more monstrous. The eerie, abandoned TNT area would have been a perfect, isolated habitat for such a creature to go unnoticed by most. Another theory dives into the realm of psychology. This explanation suggests that the Mothman phenomenon was a case of mass hysteria or collective delusion. The story begins with 1 or 2 genuinely frightening but perhaps misinterpreted sightings. These stories, fueled by local media, spread like wildfire through the small, close-knit community. In an atmosphere of fear and excitement, more people began to see the creature. Their minds, primed by the stories, interpreted shadows and ordinary objects as the winged monster. The social pressure to be part of the phenomenon could have also played a role, creating a feedback loop of fear and sightings that grew over the year. Finally, we have the supernatural or paranormal theory. This is the idea that Mothman was exactly what it appeared to be, an otherworldly being. Proponents of this theory, like the famous author John Keel, who investigated the events as they happened, believe Mothman was an ultra-terrestrial, a being from another dimension or a parallel reality. They argue that its ability to appear and disappear, its strange flight, and its apparent connection to other paranormal events like UFOs and Men in Black all point to something beyond our understanding of the natural world. In this view, Mothman was a messenger, a scout, or perhaps just a cosmic tourist whose presence coincided with a terrible tragedy. Decades have passed since the Silver Bridge fell and the Mothman disappeared, but the legend has only grown stronger. The creature has transformed from a local terror into a global icon of folklore and cryptozoology. Its story has been told and retold in countless books, television shows, and documentaries. The most famous adaptation is undoubtedly the 2002 movie, The Mothman Prophecies, starring Richard Gere, which brought the chilling tale of Point Pleasant to a worldwide audience. This film cemented Mothman's place in popular culture, making its glowing red eyes and winged silhouette instantly recognizable to millions who had never even heard of the small West Virginia town. Mothman has become more than just a monster story. It's a core part of West Virginia's identity. The people of Point Pleasant have embraced their unique history, turning a story of fear into a source of community pride and tourism. Every year the town hosts the Mothman Festival, an event that draws thousands of visitors from all over the globe. People come to share stories, listen to lectures from paranormal investigators, take bus tours of the famous sighting locations, and, of course, eat Mothman-themed pancakes. The festival is a celebration of the mystery, a testament to how a local legend can bring people together and create a lasting cultural legacy for a small town. At the heart of Point Pleasant, a striking 12-foot-tall chrome statue of the creature stands as a permanent tribute. It's a popular spot for photos, a physical landmark for a story that exists mostly in memory and speculation. There's also a Mothman Museum, which houses the largest collection of police reports, witness accounts, and evidence related to the 1966 to 1967 sightings. These institutions show just how deeply the legend is woven into the fabric of the community. Mothman is no longer a feared monster hiding in the shadows. It is a celebrated mascot, a quirky and mysterious symbol of the town's unique and fascinating past. Despite all the books, movies, and festivals, we are no closer to a definitive answer today than we were in 1966. No physical evidence of the Mothman, no feathers, no footprints, no body, has ever been found. The sandhill crane theory remains plausible, but it doesn't quite satisfy everyone who has heard the terrifying witness accounts. The supernatural explanations are compelling, but they remain firmly in the realm of belief rather than fact. And so, the Mothman remains an enigma. It is a ghost, a cryptid, and a cultural hero all at once. The mystery is still very much alive, a dark-winged question mark hanging forever over the town of Point Pleasant.